I arrived at the trailhead far later than I'd intended. I'd been stressing out the weeks leading up to the outing, and tardiness just fed my anxiety to the point where I wasn't comfortable doing any film work in the initial hike. Of course, having my first energy drink in months probably didn't help that much. And it wasn't even a good flavor. Jalapeno strawberry? Who even buys that? Fortunately, I had my action cam on hand to capture B-roll for us while I hiked through my problems. It was nice being able to just unplug and be in the moment while the GoPro did all the hard work. Also, heads up, you will notice my case for my camera fogging up as time progressed. I'm really sorry about that. It's just a learning opportunity. As I approached the summit of Mount Wittenberg, I did run into a ranger on our lunch break. We had a brief conversation before I returned to the task at hand. Yay, horses! Fancy riding cows that poop all over the trails. Arrival at the coast camp happened surprisingly faster than I thought. It only took me a little over 3 hours to get there, which worked out to an average pace of 3 miles per hour. Not bad. Welcome to home. This is night 1 in my campsite. I didn't really do any film work on the way in. I just had a late start and wasn't really feeling it, but I'm at camp. I'm all set up, and I wanted to give you the grand tour. So come with me. Come. So, this is my bedroom, right here. Got my Therm-A-Rest and my sleeping bag. I brought my synthetic bag because I was expecting heavy rain. Over here is the wardrobe. I've got my puppies ready. And over here is my sit pad, because this is my parlor and reading area and potentially smoking area. We'll see. This is the kitchen. I've got my little Esbit stove here ready to go. And over here is the cocktail lounge. I have my candle ready. I have a Little mini Nalgene bottle full of Sazerac's, my favorite cocktail. Ah, I can smell that lemon and absinthe and fennel. Oh, smells amazing. Can't wait. And over here is our formal dining suite, the very finest cutlery. And over there, that's our gear loft and pantry. Yeah, so welcome to home. Now, joking aside, it's gonna be awesome. What a great day. So here we are. Sierra Alpha Tango, is that what I'm gonna call it now? I don't know. The Samwise Sazerac. There we go. I'll take it. Lemony and fresh. Oh yeah. It's a healthy pour. So you can get that fennel, anise, sweetness, kind of baking spice. Oh, it's so good. I'm glad I kept the sweetness down, because it's like, you know how when something's like the right kind of astringent, that it kind of sends a shiver down your spine? This was just one of my favorite things in the world to do. Go down to the coast campsite, set up camp, go down to the shore, and just read. I didn't bring a paperback book today. I'm listening to an audiobook though. I can't complain one way or the other. I'm happy. I'm just happy to be out here. I'm a little bit cold, but I can manage. I got warm puffies and hot food waiting for me back at camp. This is just the perfect Sazerac. And I wonder how much of it is just being at the right place at the right time. I mean, just look at that sunset. Listen to that ocean. What a privilege. As you can tell by my wild hairdo, it's morning. I didn't have a very good night last night. My Therm-A-Rest developed a little pinhole leak, and I had to get up every couple hours and pump it up. I did patch it with some super glue and kinesio tape this morning, so I'm hoping that'll resolve it enough to get me through the remainder of the trip. It's freezing. It's probably like high 30s, low 40s right now. It got down to like the got down to like the high 30s last night. It was more or less warm. Just the Therm-A-Rest issue was a problem. Anyway, I have my water going. I'm gonna get ready for breakfast. Alright, so to illustrate how cold it was last night, and currently is, I didn't even get my water to boil on 1 Esbit cube. It's taking 2 now. Cold start. Cold start. Here's the part I'm not looking forward to at all. Taking off my mid layers. I want to get sweat soaked and cold on the trail. I think I'm going to keep my vest on for now. But if I start getting too sweaty, then it's got to go. Even though I slept in far later than I usually do in the field, I was still on the trail well ahead of my neighbors. The morning proved to be as quiet and as serene as I needed. It was peaceful wandering the trails and bluffs of Point Reyes with just my thoughts for company. I'd been backpacking Point Reyes for years now, and for the first time, I finally decided to take more of a scenic route and pay Sculptured Beach a visit. It was absolutely worth the stop. Sculptured Beach! I've been coming out to this park for decades now, and I've never actually gone to Sculptured Beach. I've always walked past it. Today's the day I change that. It's really incredible. If you look over here, you can see all the different colors and textures of rock and soil on that bluff. Those are all lines of deposition. material that was deposited by the ocean over years and years and upthrust through tectonic action. I love getting to these kind of cuts here because you can see like the very fine details of the banding. Look, there's an orange piece up there. That shows sign of iron oxide in there. Further down, you've got a lot of like white, loose material, and then further down there's more like gray. You can see that just as the nature of the geology out here changed, the material being scraped up by the tectonic motion changed as well. And then you can see the soil changing textures as more and more carbon and nutrients get into it. This is really incredible stuff. And just like right here, we have this really incredible rock with all these lines of deposition in it, just like in that bluff I was showing you. Different materials being deposited through different eras, being compacted down by different tectonic motions. It's incredible stuff. I see why they call this Sculptured Beach, and I'm glad I finally took the time to get out here. And just off in the distance there, you can see the actual point of Point Reyes. You can see the lighthouse, the boathouse, and all the historic structures there. It's really incredible, just the view here. I'm glad I did this. And if you look just right over there, there's some feathers and debris. That's a seabird kill. So at some point, a fox or a raccoon or a bobcat took down a seabird there and ate it and left behind the feathers. As I wandered on, I could really comprehend the extent of the fire damage from the prior year's Woodward fire. If you look all around here, you can see fire damage from the Woodward fire that hit this area last year. A lightning strike hit a tree, I believe, in Woodward Valley, and it spread to this area. It destroyed the sky camp, it damaged a lot of the trees up there. But down here, you see all this low chaparral that's been scorched and burned. And it's actually kind of a good thing, because these plants, these are chamise, madrone, manzanita, coyote bush, buckbrush. These are plants that evolved in an environment with fire in it. They need fire to help level out competition and to help procreate. So while it looks bad now, you can see that this is just a community of plants doing what they're supposed to do. That fire came in here, it destroyed a lot of these things, but now they're already coming back. There's coyote bush right there. There's some buckbrush right over there. It's already bouncing back. And it's great because what these low, scrubby chaparral plants do is they help shade and protect the soil, so more sun-sensitive plants like native blackberry, sambucas of varying varieties, different plants can come back sheltered and grow, and then this whole cycle of succession starts over. So in the 60 years or so that we've arrested recurring fires in many of these areas, we've ended up with this like overgrowth of material that's very flammable and very adapted to fire and nothing to take care of it. And so all of a sudden they're outcompeting all low-lying plants that are supposed to be sheltered by them, and they're being outcompeted by other plants like Douglas fir and bishop pine that grow fast and overtop them. Nothing's come in and arrested that succession. So this fire, in a way, while short-term is sad, it is very much a reset button. The whole ecology here has had a chance to kind of stop, and providing that the soils haven't been sterilized by high heat, everything should be fine. It's really exciting stuff. So over here you can see these spruces, and what's happened is they've grown in a way that follows the prevailing wind. Look at that angle to them. There's a term for that I used to know, and I have forgotten it. But it was a German word, and it basically meant a plant growing into the prevailing wind like that. It was like Amish Kabugerhofen or something, I don't know. But I've forgotten it. I know what it means. That's what it is. You can see and hopefully hear those seabirds out on that rock there. I don't know if they're mating or if it's a territory thing, but I could hear them from a good maybe 100 feet back. It's really cool. We're in their environment right now. We're in their home. We're just visiting. So right back here, you can see another cool rock structure there. This is probably just a mudstone or sandstone that was deposited through oceanic currents over the years. But what's really cool is you can see in it the lines of deposition, the layers of deposition on it. And you can see that it's up like this. And what happened was, as it was scraped off the ocean floor by tectonic motion, it was upthrust vertically or near vertically. So you end up with this like pokey fence-looking structure. It's really cool. It's a good day for rocks. Right over here is one of my favorite landmarks. I call it Luncheon Tree, and it's traditionally where I've always had my lunch. And it's kind of right between Coast and Wildcat, which was one of my loops. And it's just this big sprawling eucalyptus tree. It's the perfect spot to stop at. And it's got foliage on it year round. So heat of summer, cool of winter, there's shade, there's shelter. It's really special. I might grab a quick handful of something to nibble on, but I'm not feeling particularly hungry right now, and I think I'd rather power on to Wildcat. Now, one of the ironies is that here in Northern California, we're used to seeing these eucalyptus trees all over the coast areas, all over the inland areas. It's hard not to find one. And we think of them as just being endemic to our ecosystem, but they're not. They're actually imported from Australia. And they're a major concern for fires because they drop a lot of leaf litter and a lot of bark litter, and they have a very fatty wood that's very capable of catching fire quickly and burning hot. So as concerns over wildfires continue, we'll see more and more of these trees in public areas being removed. Hopefully that means replanting more native species and helping support the native ecosystems. But we'll see what it really means in the long run. Now, why were eucalyptus trees brought over to the United States from Australia? Well, they grow fast, They provide a lot of firewood, and they're nice. They smell pleasant. They look pleasant. They provide a lot of shade. When I was studying to become a naturalist, we would see old homestead sites. And the only thing that would tell us that it was a homestead site before we got there was a line of eucalyptus trees that were planted for privacy. And the idea is that someone could plant a row of saplings, and within 2 decades they'd have a row of fully matured trees giving them shelter. They are a very impressive and very competitive species. As you can see, they've spread all around, and there's eucalyptus growing all throughout this entire little clearing. They will continue to grow unchecked no matter what. Here, this used to be the turnoff for the trail to Arch Rock. And Arch Rock was always one of my go-to stops on my way to Wildcat from coast or sky. How Arch Rock was formed was we had a landmass here, and oceanic currents and weathering weathered away at it and formed a spit, a chunk of land and rock sticking out off of the mainland. And then the ocean currents undermined that structure and created an arch. Well, Arch Rock was a major tourist destination. I always had to stop by it. Many other people did as well. And tragically, in I believe it was January of 2015 or 16, 2 women were on it, visiting it, and it collapsed. And one of them was gravely injured, and one of them was killed outright. And so now the trail is closed, the arch is gone, no one goes there anymore. Or no one should go there anymore. It looks like people are still actively using this trail, which is not safe. What drove it home for me was the fact that I believe just a week or 2 before that happened, I was on that rock. I was there. That could have been me. It's just one of those things we always have to bear in mind. Life is fragile. Just one quick twist of fate, and it's done. So this hill I'm working my way up, I call it Ballbuster Hill. Not because it's that bad, it's really only like a 300 or 400 foot climb, but it switchbacks constantly, and every time you think you've crested, there's another little climb to go. It just always gets you. It's one of those gentle slopes that just keeps going, you know? But I'm just about done, I think. Doing okay. I was wrong. I wasn't anywhere near the summit. The climb continued for another 40 minutes before it finally began to level off. Summiting is one of my favorite things to do, and I've ascended quite a few hills, including one that's become known colloquially as Morale Buster Hill. And none of them are quite as challenging as Ballbuster Hill. But it's not the bad kind of challenging. It's difficult, yes, but it's one of those climbs that helps you measure where you are as a hiker and helps you assess your physical strength. A friendly reminder that I'm simultaneously alive and work in progress.
Take one.
I'm at my first major intersection of the day, and I can cheat and take a mile hike in and go up to the Glen camp and just be done, or I can push myself. It's 3.5 miles from here to Wildcat Camp, and if I play my cards right, I might be able to swing by Alamir Falls if I feel up to it. That's what I'm going to do. So, might see a little bit less of me as I focus more on just pushing, but I'm going to do this. Down there is Wildcat Camp, where I'm going to camel up, make some coffee, and get going. Look at the map and rethink my life. So, sit rep. Made it to Wildcat Camp, so I'm about 8 miles in. I'm feeling it. So, I'm about 1.5 miles out from Alamir Falls, which would give me a round trip of 3 miles there. And then from Wildcat, where I am right now, to Glen. So about 5 miles. I'm maintaining about 2.5 miles an hour pace. So we're looking at about 2 hours. Got about 3 hours of usable light left. I think I'm gonna make me a cup of coffee and load up on some snacks here and just kind of get set to travel. So I'm at kind of a crossroads. Do I keep going? Do I just take the most immediate route back to my next stop? I don't know. I hope this cup of coffee helps me decide. I'm just a little weary, so I'm hoping a little breather. Besides, all kinds of caffeinated goodies here. I've got goo and shot blocks and coffee. I think I can kind of whip myself into shape here. Did have a handful of moon cheese and some sour jelly beans. I think I can make this work. Just gotta camel up. It's gonna work. Hello. You're a very pretty bobcat. Hello, bobcat. I'm gonna leave you alone, but thank you for staying still long enough for me to get a video of you. You're very beautiful, and I'll be out of your territory in a moment, okay? Have a wonderful day. I didn't have the presence of mind to film at the time, but there was a whole covey of quail in this little gully here. And as I walked through, they all boom, got up and boom, flew off. It's really cool. And there was a hawk or a kestrel overhead, I think probably looking for one or two to grab and make breakfast. Wow, really cool. I've just passed the junction for the trail to my last campsite here, Glen Camp. The last couple of miles were less like an enjoyable adventure and more like a weird act of self-flagellation. I'm beat. Got a mile and change left until I get to night 2. Glad I'm doing this. It's feeling like a nice accomplishment, but I'm just yeah, I'm feeling it. Can't wait to get into camp, have a cocktail, get some dinner. I'll see you in a little bit. So I had a whole thing filmed, and I realized I didn't press the record button. So fucking dumb. Yeah, I should just have another Sazerac, right? Oh, that's so good. Anyway, I'm cold. I want to get into my sleeping bag and start warming up. I miss my wife. I miss my daughter. I miss my dumb dog. It's weird, I haven't really been away from them that much in years now. It's hard, especially when you're just feeling emotionally vulnerable after a long hike as it is. It's like,
You know, just hits you right here. It's so weird. Like, I get home and my daughter's just screaming, "Dad, Dad!" Happy to see me. And she's not here now. It's just me. I think it's important to get away from all that to really understand just how much it all matters. Anyway, I'm gonna settle in. Have a good night, everybody.
I awoke at 0100 with my Therm-A-Rest flat again. Apparently, my field fix failed. At that point, I was just done. I got up, broke camp, and made for the trailhead. I was lucky that I wasn't too far out and that I could bail like this. Otherwise, I'd continue with the previous night's struggle of waking up every 90 minutes or so and reinflating my pad. The 5-mile exit hike did provide me with ample time to reflect on the whole trip. I'd had a few difficulties and unplanned changes. I'd also made some poor decisions on my own part, but I was happy with this backpacking trip. It was a fun reminder of just how much I enjoy this hobby, and how meaningful it is to be able to get away and escape for a little while. I appreciated the challenges and victories and meeting friendly people all along. The good time was had by me.
Una mattina mi son svegliato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi son svegliato, ho trovato l'invaso, oh partigiano,